While owning a pro sports team may be viewed as a status symbol, but beyond prestige, team ownership has quietly become one of the best performing asset classes in the U.S. Now, franchise values have compounded at an estimated 15% a year, topping $500 billion across the major leagues. Well, with demand growing from institutions, PE, and sovereign wealth funds, sports are increasingly being viewed not just as entertainment, but as an investment. Joining me this morning to weigh in is Chris Marangi, who is co-CIO of Value at Gabelli Funds. Good morning and Happy New Year, Chris. Thank you so much for joining me. So, high-value sports assets are usually private and hard to reach. So, tell me about the sports ecosystem, and can you break down the actual opportunity for our viewers?
Yeah, well, you outlined it pretty well. This has been the province of the ultra wealthy. They've been viewed historically as vanity plays, but they've actually been very profitable financial investments as well. It's not mutually exclusive. And we are now have just introduced a product, Gabelli Opportunities and Live in Sports Goals, an ETF that allows public market investors to access these investments. There's enough public teams, leagues, sports ecosystem partners out there to make this a diversified and attractive investment opportunity. And in terms of why they're attractive, we're talking about recurring revenue businesses that are low capital intensity, lots of pricing power, and scarcity. And that's really why they've been very good stores of value over the last decade or so.
Yeah, and Chris, while I have you here, for our viewers who may not be as familiar, why are sports franchises considered a strong and consistently appreciating asset class?
Well, you've got obviously a limited number of teams in the big four leagues in the U.S. It's football, baseball, hockey, and basketball. And much like Bitcoin, that number goes up only periodically when there are expansions. So they've traded historically amongst the ultra wealthy, but there are new buyers, incremental buyers for these assets, as some of the rules have changed that allow private equity and sovereigns to enter the market. And if you look at some of the recent transactions just over the last 3 or 4 months, the Lakers and the New York Giants trade for over 10 billion. Total Wolves F1 team for trade for over 6 billion, and that's indicative of what we think will happen going forward.
And you highlighted the Gabelli Opportunities in Live and Sports ETF, GOLS, and that is an actively managed fund that invests in companies across sports and live entertainment. So that means access to not just teams, leagues, but also media and even ticketing businesses as well as venues. So can you tell me about the value as well as importance of exposure to multiple revenue streams here?
Yeah, so all you have to do is if 3/4 or 2/3 of Americans have watched a sporting event over the last year, 3/4 have actually gone to a game. And if you've gone to a game, you realize that ticket prices have gone up, that hot dog that you buy at the game has gone up, and so the venue owners are a beneficiary of that, as are the media companies. There's been a lot of hand-wringing about traditional media having to pay up for sports rights and what happens as cord cutting continues. Well, the big tech companies have stepped right into their shoes. You have Netflix, Amazon, Apple, amongst others, as major players in the sports rights ecosystem. And we think that basically continues because this is the stuff that people watch, along with news, and both business news and political news.
Yeah, and Chris, before I let you go, tell me how this fund, this ETF, is different from other sports or entertainment investments out there.
Well, we're, to our knowledge, the only one out there today that is specifically focused on sports. There are other entertainment-related ETFs out there that are a little bit more broad, but this is a very focused way to gain access to this particular asset class globally, I should mention. There are a lot of non-US listed soccer teams, for example. We're buying those, and those are often hard to buy for retail investors. So this is a great opportunity in that respect.
Okay, and finally, before I let you go, this is the time of year that we're looking ahead to the rest of 2026. So very quickly, what are you paying attention to when it comes to the world of sports as well as entertainment?
Well, obviously, we're paying attention to the broader world, the broader economy, rates, fiscal dynamics. But one of the nice things about sports is that they are somewhat immune to those issues. They're pretty stable assets. Obviously, viewership and changes in media are very important to the value of sports franchises. We're bullish on that, but certainly something to watch in the new year.
Okay, Chris, great having you on the show. Thank you so much for joining me as we kick off 2026.
Thanks for having me.